Hi everyone, I'm Rook, and now that the Scars of Battle booster madness has settled in, I just wanted to take the time. I've opened 2 boxes and then some at this point, and I really wanted to sit down and give you guys the top 10 cards that I'm most excited for that came out of this pack. Not necessarily the top 10 cards that are going to be the most valuable or that are going to really shake the meta. I'm talking about the top 10 cards that I'm personally most excited for. So of course, you can always disagree with me. Feel free to let me know what your top 10 are or if you would choose anything different, but these are the ones that I think are really going to bring a little flavor to the game and that I'm excited for. And at the very end, I'm going to announce the best nostalgia card. When I opened that pack, it took me back. So without further ado, here we go. Before we get into the top 10, a couple honorable mentions. We did see Ally of Justice Core Destroyer in this booster pack, and I love that they put this in here. It's a 3-star Dark Monster, attack 1200, defense 200, but at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a light monster, destroy that monster. So it's a little ambitious. We don't see too many light monsters yet in the Speed Duel format. Gearfried the Swordmaster is considered a light monster, which is strange, a little rare because most warriors in this format are earth monsters. But I love that they put an Ally of Justice in here. Back in the traditional Yu-Gi-Oh format, I used Ally of Justice Catastor a lot, the Synchro monster, so I do like seeing that they put another Ally of Justice in here. And another honorable mention, we do have Screech in this booster pack. It's a reptile, 4 stars, attack 1500, defense 400. If this card is destroyed by battle, send 2 water monsters from your deck to the graveyard. So a little bit of help for the water and aquatic decks here, trying to boost, get those slushies into the graveyard, I think, so they can get those sea serpents out. So I like that there was an attempt. I don't think it's going to take over the meta, absolutely. But I like that there was an attempt there. So we have Screech. And last honorable mention, Troop Dragon. I like Troop Dragon because if you have a full play set of them, it can be very annoying. We were seeing a little bit of play like this with the Sinister Servant, but I think Troop Dragon is a little better. If the card's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special summon a Troop Dragon from your deck. It's very straightforward. It is basically a stall tactic. It is a dragon monster, so it does synergize with dragons, and it is a wind monster. Now, the attack and defense, I mean, it's 700, 800. It's not really something you're going to be using to attack, but the fact that you can stall your opponent, I do like that. And now moving on, here are the top 10. Number 10. Master Craftsman Camille. I like this card because it is technically a hand trap, and I like seeing more of these in the format. It's not that great, I will say. We're not talking about Sphere Karibo here, but the fact that it's a hand trap is pretty great because I think we have, 3 in the format right now. During the damage step, when a face-up monster you control battles, it's a quick effect. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard. That monster gains 300 attack until the end of the turn. So it's basically, you drop the card in the graveyard. It's like a little honest, to be honest. You drop the card into the graveyard and it gives your monster 300 attack. It's like giving them a little bit of a legendary sword or a basic equip spell that you see here from your hand. Number 9. Double Evolution Pill. I'd be amiss to not mention this skill card. Now, this is the money card currently. This is a Rex skill, really good for dinosaurs right now. At the start of your draw phase, instead of drawing a card, you can pay 1,500 life points to activate this skill. Banish a dinosaur monster and 1 non-dinosaur monster from your hand and or graveyard. Notice it says hand and or graveyard, so it makes it very versatile. You can special summon a level 7 or higher dinosaur monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. So there's your Black Tyranno right there. Black Tyranno, that's a great example of a monster. I think it's something like 2,600 attack. That's crushing for your opponent. Number 8. Gearfried the Swordmaster. Now, this is a card that I was kind of looking forward to. One of the few light monsters we're seeing in the Speed Duel format. Can't be normal summoned or set. It's got to be special summoned with a release restraint. Now, this is a spell card. This is not a ritual monster. It's a spell card, and you need to tribute a Gearfried the Iron Knight in order to get out the Swordmaster. Now, this attack is a 2,600, defense 2,200. So this is a pretty strong monster. And when an equip card is equipped to this card, you can target one monster your opponent controls and destroy that target. So it's a warrior monster. There are a lot of different equip spells for warriors. Sword of Dragon Soul, Legendary Sword. Obviously, if your opponent tries to hit you with the Mask of the Accursed, you're going to be able to pop their monsters as well. So very versatile. I think it counters a lot of equipped decks. Obviously, the burn deck and the stall deck with Mask of the Accursed. So I do like that here in the format. Number 7. Servants of the Fallen King. I had to include this bond skill that came out here in Scars of Battle because back when it was Arena of Lost Souls was out, I tried to build a Skull Servant deck because I saw King of the Skull Servants came out and I was like, okay, this deck must work. It's got to work for a reason. Built the deck. It was really slow. I got my butt handed to me time after time again to the point where I disbanded the deck. I traded all the King of the Skull Servants away. And now here we see this skill that makes it viable. I actually watched a buddy place top 4 in a tournament recently with this skill and the Skull Servants deck. So I do appreciate that it came out and it really gave life to one of the more versatile decks out there, one of the more fun decks to build. I personally no longer have an interest in building it because I have a bad taste in my mouth when I tried it a few months ago, but I really appreciate that skill. Number 6, Spellproof Armor. Had to put a Bandit Keith skill in here, and I decided on Spellproof Armor simply because it has some great effects. I find it a little better than Bandit. It has some great effects for your machine monsters if you are dedicated to running straight machines. All machine monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's spell effects. That's great. And you can normal summon machine normal monsters with 1 less tribute. So a lot of the machines, obviously we're seeing the slot machine, the pendulum machine, these are all greater than 4-star monsters. So to activate this effect, you're getting some real beaters out there on the field, and I think that that's very helpful with the Spellproof Armor. It'll really help you ramp up. Now this skill can only be used once per duel, and if a non-machine monster is in your graveyard, flip the skill over, so you really have to be dedicated to the machines, but I find that it is going to be better than Heavy Metal Raiders. Heavy Metal Raiders, I think there's a lot of potential for it, but it's not included in my top 10 simply because it's gone the way of Call of the Haunted, where you have to draw 1 less card at the beginning of the duel. So really trying to figure out if Heavy Metal Raiders is worth the value of drawing 1 less card at the beginning of the duel. So right now, that spot goes to Spellproof Armor. Number 5, Security Orb. This trap card does a lot of things that I like. And by a lot of things, I really mean 2 things. It's 2 of my favorite traps in 1. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, target that attacking monster, change that target's battle position. Bam. There's a kunai effect right there. There's a little windstorm right there. If this set card is destroyed by your opponent's spell trap effect and sent to the graveyard, destroy 1 monster on the field. Bam. What does that sound like? Wild Tornado. So we have a couple things here. Very versatile. You can change the battle position, which, this format is favoring, as opposed to getting rid of monsters with traps, you're changing the battle position. And of course, if it's being aggressively targeted and destroyed by your opponent's spell trap effect, destroy 1 monster on the field. If your opponent decides to dust tornado it, you are able to counter and take a large monster right off their field. Number 4, Command Knight. I like Command Knight because it's a warrior card. A lot of decks are running warriors right now. I could see this be used well in, obviously we see Gearfried the Swordmaster is out now, and of course there's the Blade Knight deck, which I think this is a perfect tech in. All warrior monsters you control gain 400 attack. This kind of acts like Harpy Lady 1, where it boosts itself too. So it's at 1200 attack, but naturally with its own effect, it'll be at 1600 attack. And that defense is at 1900, so if you set this monster, oh my gosh, you are most likely gonna somebody's gonna bump right into you and take some damage because they aren't expecting the Command Knight out. And of course, great effect, if you control another monster, monsters your opponent controls can't target this card for attacks. So Command Knight can stay out there, boosting your big guys, and your big guys are taking all the heat. Now if you get 2 Command Knights out, oh my gosh, you're locked. You're locked in, you cannot attack, and that's just so frustrating to play against. So Command Knight, great annoying addition. Number 3, Book of Life. I chose Book of Life at number 3 because I'm currently building zombies. I built an ectoplasmic fortification deck, and I built it kind of towards the end of the Attack of the Deep era, and now Scars of Battle comes out, and here comes Book of Life, and that's exactly why I need to put in. There were a couple spots where I wasn't sure what to put in. Bam, Book of Life. Target 1 zombie monster in your graveyard and 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon the first target, also banish the second target. What is this going to do? This is going to get my Zombinas back out on the field. Zombina is the zombie monster you want to get out. I would say Book of Life works in not just zombie decks, but really any deck that's going to try and have Zombina in it to get level 4-star monsters from the graveyard back into the field. So Book of Life really well. Also, Book of Life banishing that opponent's monster from the graveyard is really great, especially if your opponent is also trying to Book of Life or they might have Zombinas. So, I would definitely put it in the side deck, but if you are running Zombinas, put it in that main deck. Number 2, Blast Sphere. I know it's a common at number 2, but this card, as soon as I pulled it, I put it in my burn deck, and it has just been a great addition. I got rid of the Gravekeeper's cannon holders. I got rid of a Magical Undertaker. Blast Sphere catches everyone off guard. I absolutely love it. If this face-down defense position card was attacked by an opponent's monster, before the damage calc, equip the card to the attacking monster. Okay. Then during your opponent's next standby phase, kaboom! Destroy that monster this card's equipped to, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the destroyed monster you had on the field. So you could be blowing up anything. You're most likely automatically doing at least 1200 life point damage to your opponent. It really stalls out the attack, and it's just a great addition to any burn deck. It's also a dark machine, so it has some synergy with other dark machines that, of course, we also saw in the Scars of Battle, but I particularly like using it in the Gravekeeper's Curse burn deck. It's just working like a charm, and it fits right in. Number 1. Night Beam. I chose Night Beam because I thought to myself, what card works with every deck? There's a lot of gimmicks out here, a lot of cards that I was particularly excited about, a lot of cards that maybe I wasn't so much excited about because I wasn't building that particular deck, but what card really stands out that you can put in any deck? I would have to say Night Beam. Night Beam is amazing because this game is run by Windstorm of Itaqua. As you guys have seen, it's run by Windstorm and Kunai with Chain. This card shuts that down. You target one spell or trap your opponent controls. It's got to be set. It can't be face up. You destroy that target and your opponent can't activate the targeted card in response. So this will shut down your Windstorm. This will shut down your Kunai. There's no way they can respond to it. Even if they have the mighty Wild Tornado set, they can't chain that and take anything away from you. You are shutting that down. It's basically just peace of mind. Get that backer out of my face. I don't want to have to think about it anymore. So Night Beam really works well in any deck. I personally removed the Wild Tornado that I had in my tournament deck, and I did replace it with Night Beam. I'm finding that it works really well. It's also, depending on what you're playing against, if you find that you're playing something that you need to side, maybe Renier for intercepting, or Warrior Elimination, if you're playing Warriors, you're playing Relinquished, Night Beam is a good side out. But really, that first game, open strong, get that Night Beam in there because you know they're probably going to have a Windstorm or a Kunai or some sort of Dust Tornado there to shut you down so you can be on the offensive. And finally, the most nostalgic card goes to Empress Mantis. I know this sounds like a weird one, but Empress Mantis, I can't tell you how many of these I had in my room, just around in my childhood. I don't even know where I got all of them. Empress Mantis, I couldn't turn the corner without seeing one on the floor or stuck under my desk. I don't even know where they all came from, but as soon as I saw the art on this card, when I opened the pack, it just like took me back somewhere. So Empress Mantis, I mean, it's a 6-star insect, 2200 attack, 1400 defense, but I personally love it. I don't even plan on building bugs. I don't know. I'll put Empress Mantis in my deck anyway because that took me back. And so everybody, that was the top 10 cards I was most excited for from the Scars of Battle booster pack. Please feel free to educate me. Let me know why I was right. Let me know why I was wrong in the comments below. And of course, like or dislike at your leisure, and please subscribe for more. Thanks everybody.